Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the city of Prague, Czech Republic, and welcome to Top Notch Curling. My name is Stepan Hron, and I'll be your guide for this featured game. We have now moved on to the playoff stage at this 2018 Prague Classic World Curling Tour Tournament, and our featured game is going to be between two teams of the home nation, the Czech Republic. The teams are going to be Team Kubeška and Team Klima. We're going to start by introducing the players of the two teams, starting with Team Kubeška. Throwing the lead stone is Martin Jurík. Playing second, Jakub Splavec. Playing third, David Jeronek. And fourth, and the skip of the team, Karel Kubeška. Now it's time to introduce again Team Klima. Samuel Mokryš throwing the lead stones. Marek Černovský playing the second. Jiří Candra playing the third. And finally, the skip and the fourth player, Lukáš Klima. Players are now getting ready for the game, so we have a few moments to talk about all the teams that made it through to the quarterfinals. On sheet A, we've got Klima versus Kubeška. On sheet B, we've got Team Bryce of Sweden. And on sheet D, we've got Jaszecki of Poland against Mäkelä of Finland. From this inaugural edition of the Prague Classic 2018, and with it €5,000 prize money. The semi-final and the final games are going to be played tomorrow. In the morning, we're going to be starting tomorrow at 9:30 Central European Time with the semi-final games, and then we're going to bring you the final game at 1300 Central European Time as well. Both those teams have recorded 3 games and 1 loss in their respective groups. Team Kubeška advanced from Group A with their loss in the first game against Team Dorenyin, but then they're on a hot streak of 3 games that they won in a row. First one came against Team Žagar from Slovenia, against Team Kish. On the other hand, the other team started well with 3 wins, but they stumbled a little this afternoon in our featured game against Team Rizzoli. So, to begin in the beginning, they re-recorded a win against Team Wunderer. In the second game, they managed to pull off a win against Team from Belgium, and in the third game, a win against Team Tchaikovsky of Poland. And now, this afternoon in their featured game, they lost against Italian team Rizzoli 5-6 in the extra end. First stone of the quarterfinal has been delivered by the skip and the lead player of Team Kubeška, Karel Kubeška. And it seems that the teams are going to start pretty carefully. Teams place their stones in the house, so the Team Klima is reacting by removing that stone. We should have a couple of moments in this first end to introduce the players of both teams. Start with Team Kubeška and their lead and skip Karel Kubeška. His playing experience are numerous at the WCF sponsored events. He's played a mixed doubles curling championship with his daughter Anna twice. Then he's participated in the European Curling Championship no less than 5 times. The last time was in 2016 in a similar lineup to today. And then he was also a participant at the European Mixed Curling Championships. Even more illustrious than his playing career is his coaching career. He has been the coach of Czech teams at no less than 30 WCF events, coaching in men, women, juniors, academics, mixed doubles, practically all categories that are available in curling. The player who throws second stone for Team Kubeška is David Jironek. David Jironek has an illustrious international career as well, most notably winning bronze medal for the Czech Republic at the 2011 European Mixed Curling Championship, but also participating twice at the World University Games, at the European Curling Championships once, and at the World Junior Curling Championships once as well. He also coached the junior Czech team at the 2013 World Junior Curling Championships. The team third, Martin Jurek, has international playing experience as well, even though he'd never coached, being the only player of this foursome who's never coached on an international level. He took part in that European Curling Championship at 2016 and took part in the Winter University Games 3 times in 2013, 2015 and finally in 2017 in Kazakhstan. Those occasions being coached by his now skip Kubeška, and on one occasion being coached by another one of his teammates, David Jironek, and he participated in the World University Games twice, with the best finish being the 4th place in 2017, and also took part in the 2014 European Junior Curling Challenge, where he got the bronze medal. Back to the featured game. Marek Černovský delivering his second stone of this first end, trying to freeze the red stone of Team Kubeška that is now covered by the yellow corner guard. Sweep is working pretty hard on this one. Pulls up short and wrecks the guard. So not the best result for Team Klima. Team Kubeška has the opportunity to split the house with his draw. They're working really hard to at least touch the paint, but they will not manage that, and so now Team Klima has a chance to play another one of those corner freezes. Now we're watching Jiří Candra delivering his first stone of the game. For him, this game is certainly even more interesting. It's not just a game against a team in a quarterfinal of the World Curling Tour tournament. It's also a team against his former teammates. It was him who threw 4 stones for this team prior to this season for quite some years, and who has had quite a success with this team in the past. He participated with them in the 2016 European Curling Championships and they won the 2016 Czech National Championships in this lineup with Sandra throwing the fourth stone. So we'll see how he's going to be able to handle the pressure of playing against his former teammates. Now the Kubeška third Jakubs actually managing to split the house, and his rat stone pulls up in the back gate.
To bylo trošku lepší. Ale docela on vypadal jako hodně dynamický. Nebo ne? Co? Protože mně přišlo, že vlastně na konci už...
Seen that Jiří Sandra is going to play a run back on that yellow corner guard, trying to run it into the red stone that is in the house. And they're missing that one completely. So one more chance for Team Kubeška to put additional pressure on Team Klima by placing another stone in the house.
Stačí 4!
Skip the team now, letting his players know that pulling up in the front 12 foot is well sufficient. And now we see the team's fourth, Martin Jurek, deliver his first stone of the game. Martin also is playing an interesting game against all his former teammates. Actually, that 2017 University game team was pretty much equally split between the teams Kubeška and Klima, with Jakubs Plavec being the alternate in 2017, and Samuel Mokryš, Marek Černovský, Lukáš Klima, and Martin Jurek playing all of the games to end at the fourth place. So now we saw already as the third shot running down that path, pulling up short, so maybe the teams need a bit more time to read that particular path and see how much weight they have to put on their stones when they throw them inside out. Now we see the first shot of Czech skip with plentiful international experience, and so he should be quite unfazed by playing this quarterfinal game of the World Curling Tour tournament. According to his sweepers, this one's definitely not going to end up short, and they're just hoping that it's going to pull up in time, which it is not, and it's going all the way through and back. So far, a pretty disappointing end from Team Klima, not making too many of their shots. We saw them play quite well in some parts of the afternoon game, so let's hope that they're going to find their footing and get their game together for the rest of the match. One more for Team Kubeška and their fourth player, Martin Juric. Sweepers liking this one much more. Skip Kubeška as well, supporting his players in his unmistakably personal way. And now it's up to the Klima team, the Skip and the Sweepers, to figure out how to deliver and how to prevent catastrophe in the first end of this quarterfinal game. Lukáš Gimla having to do what a Skip should do the best, and he's forced to draw the forfeit against 3 red counters. The Sweepers liking this one a lot better than the last one. A bit of panic over there, but manages to pull up on the T-line and gets a score of 1 for Team Klima. Last rock of that end successfully delivered and made up for the mistakes that they might have done throughout that end. First end is behind us, and it's Klima 1, Kubeška 0. In case you would like to follow the score lines of the other games that are taking place at this time, I can refer you to our website, worldcurl.com, where under the banner of the Prague Classic 2018 you can find all the score lines and the playoff system, so you can also see which teams might meet each other tomorrow in the semi-final. Apart from the website, the World Curling Tour has multiple social media outlets. Firstly, we're on Facebook at World Curling Tour. Secondly, Instagram at World Curling Tour. And then lastly, but not least, on Twitter at World Curl Tour. Please, with Twitter and the website, pay attention, because it's not World Curling, but World Curl. That is curling without the ing. We're going to segue from the internet back to our featured game on Chile. Team Kubeška taking on Team Klima in this quarterfinal game at the inaugural 2018 Prague Classic World Curling Tour Tournament. Team Kubeška attempting a corner round to lie in the house behind that yellow center guard, apologizing to his players because that stone was not delivered according to the wishes of the team. And now there's a chance for Samuel Mokriš of Team Klima to deliver a perfect come around and make us see how a come around is made by a top-notch player. This player at his 28 years old has already plenty of international experience. He has participated that time with Team Snitil at 2 World Curling Championships. He has also participated twice at the World Junior Curling Championships, 3 times at the European Curling Championships, and of course at the 2017 Olympic qualifying event in Pilsen last year, where the Czech Team Snitil unfortunately did not qualify for the Olympic Games, losing to the Danish team in the tiebreaker game. In his free time, that is the time where he was not throwing stones for his curling team. Samuel Mokrish has managed his master's studies at the Charles University in Prague Faculty of Mathematics, and he now works in a software company. He is also engaged to be married with his girlfriend Martina in the spring of next year, and for that we all wish them the very best of luck. Now to the Team Klima second, Marek Czernovsky, who is not getting married quite yet, and who's still studying at the Charles University. This Hope journalist is now trying to freeze the red rock, which he does not manage. He bumps and rolls into the open, thus giving the possibility to Team Kubeška to play either a freeze or remove that yellow stone. Kubeška charging his player at the second position, David Jeronek, to freeze that yellow stone. So far the sweepers are backing off, and seemingly it is quite heavy and also hanging a bit wide. Not the best result for Team Kubeška, but not the worst. It was quite curling at the end, but that stone was time. Now Marek Czernovsky attempting another placement shot into the house. We see that this rock is pulled up much earlier and more abruptly than the one before. Maybe they have taken a line where the stones didn't run before and it pulled up faster than they expected. That is one of the great skills, and that's where the players really need to have a lot of experience, a lot of feeling for the game, because the ice develops from the first to the last end, and they need to always be aware where exactly on the sheet their stones are running, because there might be massive differences between the individual tracks on the ice, and they might either make or break the game. Now the third player of Team Klima is continuing with this mixed doubles-like format of this second end of the quarterfinal game. Everybody is trying to draw to the button. This time the sweepers calling heavy, and so Skip Klima is trying to come up with a plan B. It was a plan B indeed, but a thing happens. Skip Karel Kubeška sees the possibility of a double, or maybe throwing up something from the intern side. Deciding to play attempt the double takeout.
Jo, už jde! Jo! Ne! Jo! Ne!
And a pretty nice attempt by the third player, Jakub Splavec. Jakub Splavec not only played at many international events, he is also a recently formed international coach, coaching a team from the Netherlands at the World Mixed Curling Championships in Kelowna, Canada this October.
Steady. Fine. Chest. Dílka, směr dobrý. 5. Jenom dílka. 6. Samé opatrně, nejdlouhej. Rychlá stopa samé.
And there's another zone coming up.
Na to je blbý úhel. Ne,
Calling heavy again.
ne, to je jenom otevřený.
No, nejsou, on to tam dopadne, ale... To je otázka, aby čouhal, no. A je ono.
A light shot, but they're in the open, so Team Kubiška get rid of that yellow shot. Team Klima seems to be struggling a bit with the weight today, usually being heavy on the draws.
Nebo jenom hek!
You know, during these times, you just have to trust your sweepers. You gotta say, there are two men, they're going to be there for my stone, and I need to trust them, so it's always better to maybe be a bit shorter and then have your sweepers walk the entire time rather than overthrowing your stones and
Ale vevnitř!
having your sweepers go for a walk.
Připrav se! Martin! Pojď, pojď, pojď. Pojď, pojď, pojď.
Okay.
That was a nice lightweight takeout from
Nemám co jinýho hrát.
the Kubiška third, Jakub Splavec. Got rid of their own one in the back four, but that
Já můžu dozadu, že jo?
might not be too bad for that Czech team.
Tohle je docela dobrý, teda.
11. Komora nebo rolce, můj malej. Ale jenom malej, jako poštot kamenem. Samé buď ready, ono to je docela bezpečný. Je to spíš na metení, ale já to nechci mít překlad, ne?
Věřil jsem mu. Hezký, Marťo. Věřil jsem mu trošku.
And now first rock of the second end for Lukáš Klima, Skip and the fourth player of Team Klima.
Jab! 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 Jab!
Working hard to get it through. Racks on the guard, but still makes contact with that shot on in the forfeit. So managed to remove one of those red rocks and limit some of the damage that Team Kubiška is now inflicting in the house. See that in the replay, because the sweeper's working hard, but still just feathering it and being redirected into that red rock.
No to samozřejmě můžou, no. Prostě něco mít musíme, no.
Já bych tam normálně přijel.
Jako nebudem to gardovat přece, no. To se mi fakt nechce teda. Na druhou stranu, když to zavřem, tak on tady má
Now the
nějaký draw.
Team Kubiška are making use of their thinking time. So we might talk a bit about what thinking time actually is.
Tak můžem to zavřít, no.
Thinking time is the relatively new way of measuring time for curling on the top level. Each team is assigned 30 minutes to complete the game. In case they run out of time before they complete all the 8 ends, the game is forfeited and they lose it. In case they manage their time, that's alright, and they can use all their 30 minutes. The time is started when the team starts thinking. That is when the opponent's stone stops and runs until they, so Team Kubiška is now running, since all the stones of Team Klima's last attempt came to rest, and is going to be stopped just as Martin Jurek, the team's fourth player, is going to push out of the hack.
Rychlejší?
Wow!
No, mě taky. Jsem zatím 8.
7 stone of Team Kubeška, and the second end is being delivered.
6.
So far, sweepers
7, 8.
backing up and calling heavy.
Pořád jedu dost.
Seems
Je to dlouhé.
that
Ne. Už tu hnu
stone
8
is quite good for Team Kubeška.
Jsem viděl i lepší situace. To možná měli přinést.
Nevím, co hrát, protože takhle se tenhle vždycky chytá tady.
And now it's time
Yep.
for some thinking time used for Team Klima.
Ty naše kameny nejsou tak živý, podle mě. Jako myslíte, že to půjde v pohodě?
No, as we've seen in the last game,
Já si myslím, že tady se jako zasekává.
the teams are reading the angles. They were talking about the liveliness of the rocks, and that is to say that different stones, because they're made out of granite, that is a natural material, have a different quality and different type of striking bands. Would be a very nice competitive level quality, but then there are the stones that are specifically used for the Olympic level and the World Championship level events, and those are so-called much more lively because those striking bands are newly administered with a special treatment, and so the stones are more prone to roll and more prone to spring out of the house upon contact. So Klima attempting to remove as many of those moderate position to score multiple points, and so Martin Jurik is going to try to place that stone in the house and
Líbí se mi to.
Wow!
T-line!
score 3 points for his team.
T-line, jenom směr. Jsem dobrý, jo? Dobrý. Malej ťuk možná. Malej ťuk.
The sweepers are just
Malej
staying
ťuk.
close to that stone and letting it slide on its own, and they're pretty happy with that, and that's a score of 3 for Team Kubeška and the second end of this game.
Hezký, Karle. Dobře, že jsme se nad tím zamysleli, nad tímhle.
Replay of that last stone,
Ne, to jo.
thanks to which they managed to score 3 points.
Ale, tohle bylo ono. Tohle bylo ono.
And now
On
the
dotáčel,
well-deserved
si mohli hrát.
fist bump for that well-played second end. So after 2 ends of play, it's Kubeška 3.
Můžem!
6.
We're back for the third end of this quarterfinal game between teams Kubeška and Team Klima from the Czech Republic. Welcome to
Martine, můžeš!
2018 Prague Classic,
Můžeš!
broadcast live from Prague for those who might have joined us recently.
Bude točit! Martine,
Our
tam je,
featured game is the quarterfinal of the World Curling Tour tournament. Its first edition in Prague. This is a World Curling Tour tournament with the purse of
Hezký, Karle.
15,500 euros total. It is part of the of the World Curling Tour calendar. We are now on the week 12th. Apart from the tournament in Prague, we've got tournaments in Canada and in Switzerland. The World Curling Tour tournament is very full, with tournaments taking place every single week. So I encourage you to go to the worldcurl.com website and check those tournaments as well, and also follow the YouTube channel World Curling Tour TV. In case you do not want to miss any more broadcasts and live streams, I recommend you to subscribe and to push on that little bit next to the subscription button, not to miss any stream and to receive notification from our YouTube channel.
To je dobrý. Kde jsem? Já jedu, jo, já jedu.
Je to větší.
Jo.
Wow!
In the third end of our featured game, We've had Karel Kubeška placing his first rock in the house and attempting a guard with a second one, but instead freezing the stone already in the position in the house. They wanted a freeze, but ended up with a tiny little bump. Probably not going to make much of a difference at this point, early in the end. But it allows Samuel Mokrish, the lead of Team Klima, to make play of that stone. Working pretty hard on this one and losing it and not hitting anything. Team Klima lead there. Now Team Kubeška can keep on building on their pressure with David Jironek and his version of the Manitoba toe tuck. Creating a lower center of balance and also straining the lower limbs in a different way. Some players in the Czech Republic have been adopted to have more success with their slides and to feel more comfortable. So another player who participates.
Čekej chvíli na směr. 2 plus. Jsem dobrý. Martin se připraví. Jo, pojď. Jo, Martin, jo.
Sweeper's trying to replace that guard. And they manage it pretty well. So now it's up for the Team Klima to deal with those center guards and open the field of play. Marek Chernovsky is no stranger to the heavy weight, which he proves now. Able to remove both those guards, but unfortunately sticks around with his own one, so not a completely brilliant job, but pretty solid from the team's second. And now you've got Jakub Plavec of Team Kubeška with his 2018 edition of the popped collar combined with the baseball cap. In this case, the only way is not Essex, it's curling. And he's been doing pretty good with proving that his way is curling in this quarter-final game. Now trying to place another center guard. Staying pretty close to the other one, so giving a chance to Team Klima to potentially remove both of those guards and roll out of the play. And that's the man with the white baseball cap, Jiří Sandra. A bit white, but manages to spill out that yellow stone to the side, which was their goal all the way. Pretty successful effort, and now it's up to Plavec again to try to replace that guard and protect his 2 stones in the house.
Ale 3 by měl být. Už padá.
Sweeper's cautious with the weight. And then pretty happy and sweeping for the line. And that is a pretty good effort from the team's third player. Being already quite late in the end, Team Klima is going to try to not only peel that center guard, they're also going to try to run it into those two stones in the house, which they do not manage.
Okay.
But at least they're rolling it back to the side with the shooter, and so leave the center of the field of play somewhat empty. The only problem of that were for the possible clean, because underline it still have to make a good play, which seems to be thrown by the forward, leaving those two red stones without a protection.
On tenhle bude mít problém jako cestovat. Ale budeme to hrát primárně jako nějakou 8 nebo víc. Chtěl jako, rád bych je vlastně rovnou, která se nám nezboří Bogart. A udělá tohle. To by mělo, na to, co si ukazovalo.
So now the fourth player, Lukáš Klima, has the opportunity to try to remove both of those red stones and save his team from succumbing to any more scores by the opposing team. And he manages to remove one of those shots and rolls behind his corner guard. So a pretty successful attempt by the team's fourth player. Now Team Kubeška is trying to figure out a position for their last rock to prevent Karim.
Já bych hrál možná guard spíš.
They have several things that there are several things they have to remember at this point. Either they need to guard that red rock in a way that Team Klima has no way of removing it, or they have to draw for a second shot, which would be the better option. But then they have to be careful to not to be too wide and not to leave a double takeout for Team Klima.
Zatočí. Fakt věř mi, že jo.
So let's watch this last stone of the third end, delivered by Michal Jurík.
Fajn.
Sweepers working on it from the let-go. It seems to be over-curling quite a bit. And it's going to collide into that red center guard. And it's going to actually push the other center guard. And let's see what Team Klima has to play. They pushed it a bit towards the center line, but not enough, and that red stone is completely uncovered. And so now Skip of Team Klima has a pretty easy job of removing that stone and staying somewhere in the house for 2 points to level the game. Sweeper's pretty happy with the weight, waiting for the rock to curl. Still waiting for the rock to curl. They make contact, but not enough, and it's a very unfortunate steal for Team Kubeška. That's a bit of an uncharacteristic mistake from a player on this level. And so after 3 games of play, Team Kubeška is in the lead by 3 points, leading the game by 4 points to 1.
Váha, podle mě, kdyby byl směr, tak a metli jsme, tak to bylo v pohodě. To bylo tam, kde jsme chtěli.
The other sheet, the first playing against the team, but the Swedish team. And on sheet C, we've got Russia, and that, and after 2 ends of play, it's 2-1 for Team Schick, and the Team Schick has the hammer in the 3rd end. Back to our featured game of this Prague Classic 2018 quarter-final, where Team Klima is squaring off with Team Kubeška. So far, Team Kubeška has managed to put quite a bit of pressure on Team Klima, and Team Klima not quite making their shots, even though they had their chances to score, but were not able to use these. And so Team Kubeška is in lead by 3 points.
Kolik? 5. Jo! Jo, co jdu? Martin!
Now they're trying to come around their own red stone. That was a very good opening of the 4th end by the team skip and lead Karel Kubeška. We have seen this with the 2nd end of the but now it's always a bit more difficult to play on this sheet with the wall. That wall side usually being quite specific, especially because of the air circulation here in the Prague Ice Arena at Rostely. Not sure if you can see it at any point, but the feel of play on the home end might be a bit affected by that door and by the air circulation. But both those teams should be pretty familiar with that, because both teams come from Prague and they practice in this Prague curling arena as their home rink. Team Klima is also the head ice technician for this event. The ice crew has done a very good job during this tournament. There has been no complaints about the ice. The players were saying that it's very fast. They would be throwing 14 or 15 seconds to get to the house, which is pretty curling sometimes. There hasn't been that much curl this weekend to score points and to play a nice offensive game anyway. Everybody is pretty happy with the surface, and the ice conditions are the same for everyone, so. Back to our featured game, we're seeing David Jeronek trying to peel the guard out. He doesn't quite play the peel, but a pretty good B-plan, rolling in front of his red rock and placing it as a guard and forcing Team Klima to remove it. That was a very nice shot by the team's second, Marek Chernovsky. Runs that guard into the one in the house, and both they go away.
A nebo to zkusit, Karle, píl s rolem naspřed, to můžeme zkusit.
Some last-minute discussions by Team Kubeška.
Ať to nekomplikoval.
Again, thinking about the best option. Good. Be pretty straightforward at this level, but apparently not that straightforward, and had to opt for plan B, which actually came out pretty well. Team Kubeška player Jakub Splavec laughing at it himself. Yep, that was a thing that happened. Sometimes these things happen in curling, that when you throw your shot not on the broom and it's pretty close, then sometimes you get lucky, but luck stays with the ones who are prepared to receive it, and so let's wish him well. Another corner round successfully made into the house. Probably no way for Team Kubeška to remove it directly.
No, taky.
Looking at that possibility of that run back. Or trying to do that through the port directly. It's always about risk and reward, and about what the players feel comfortable with. There is no right or wrong in this situation, and if he plays more comfortable playing that run back, that's good for him. If he plays more comfortable going through that port, good for him as well. The important thing is to make that shot, and he makes it perfectly. So, must have been the right decision. Another one of those inside out. And put opponent in really where they might make sure that they're out counting. Third. It's time for the just without the sponsors. The Ministry Consulting Company. Martin Jurik trying to draw into the house and outcount the yellow stone that Jiří has just thrown out. That's seem to have picked something, or maybe just not enough rotation, not enough of release, not enough power given to it, and it kind of died and turned really abruptly about 2 meters in front of the house. And so now Team Klima have a chance to counter with a nice shot of their own.
Nic jsme tady nehráli. Desítkou roll k Samovi. Buď za guard, nebo až do volna.
Jo.
Potřebujeme zůstat někde v 8 stopách, to je jediný.
The team is going to
Nic málo útočí.
take out. Trying to remove that red stone from the house and lie to ideally on the 8 foot. Behind that cover. What they definitely want to prevent at this point is to leave a double for the Reds, because that would be very unfortunate, and they managed to do that perfectly. They roll behind that red guard, and now Team Kubeshka is finding themselves in all sorts of trouble, and they really need to muster their strength not to suffer a multiple score by the opposing team. Now the team's fourth, Martin Jurek, is going to try to limit the damage done by Team Klima by freezing one of their stones.
No, to mi ne. Já jsem zaklopenej. Zaklopenej! Já nejsem delší. Ne, nejsem. Jsem na něm. Jsem na něm. Jsem na něm.
So far, Seekers seem to be pretty happy with the speed. What they really have to be careful about is not to bump that yellow one and roll into the open. Small bump and a small roll, but seems to be enough. And now they have to really consider what part of the sheet they're on and whether to try to reach Team Klima points. Where draw into the, and then if he's not to, and he might promote that for the eight side. The score for the hammer. We have seen a Team Klima being 3 down in the previous after day strength and really and in the extra they managed to take that game into an extra his job, right, and he managed. So it was a 1-point game. Definitely a team that is not going to give up before the game is over. All of these players have great individual skills, and I firmly believe that with the time they're going to become great as a team as well. So now game force Team Kubeshka into one. Work on, and they managed to skip Lukáš with their joint for them. Kubeshka a bit late on the sweeping, earlier than they expected, so the Team Klima now has a pressure has now an opportunity to build up even more pressure. That requires their second player, Marek Chernovsky, to deliver his stones perfectly. We have seen him struggling today a bit with his delivery, and especially with the number of rotation, especially on this intern side. And again, we see his stone taking quite the outer path and rotating with quite the vigor. And yes, that's the problem with those newly put together teams. Maybe not completely aware of how each respective player is going to throw their stones, and so that is those are the symptoms of starting out together and of a fresh start. You still need to learn how to read each other and how to read each other's release really, and how to anticipate each other's shots.
Jestli ho vidíš tolik, tak jo. 11, dobrá.
Team Klima now changing the tactics a bit and going for soft weight takeout on the red rock at the back of the tee.
Dobrá. Jo.
quite high number of rotations again. But this time seems to be good, going through that port and hitting that zones and hanging for second shot. Nice shot from the second player of Team Klima.
Team plus! Team plus. To nevadí. Team plus!
We might now segue into a short featurette about the movements of the players and the team. That would be the former Team Snitil. Lukáš Klima stayed as the only player in that team, with Martin and Jiří Snitil and Jindřich Skisberger stepping down from competitive curling after many years on the national and international level, and Marek Černovský and Samuel Mokrič joining that team prior to this season, both coming from Team Daberi that we saw in our featured game yesterday, and Jiří Zandra joining this team from other Czech team that he was playing with in the last season, but from Team Bukovský, who was also playing at this tournament. That's what he was playing with the last season, but he used to play with this Kubeška rink for many years, and that's where he got all his successes and his international experience on the adult stage so far. So definitely an interesting game for Ulek and Kubeško the last season. But with and only managed to push to the wing of those guys looking hard. And for
Komora směrem sem. No, Komora to neřeší, že tady je jam. A kde ho chceš trefit teda? Malinko odsaď. A půjdeme sem. Necháme jim double.
According to the Czech skip, they would like to hit that stone just off the center in order to remove that yellow stone in the back 8 and to roll underneath that yellow corner guard. But for that, Jakub Splavec is going to need determination, focus, and precision. Giving the initial panic. Might not be completely there, but the sweepers managed to hold it quite well, and they made contact with that first yellow rock, but only to roll out of the house themselves. As a bonus, as we've seen in the replay, they managed to get rid of one of those yellow rocks in the back 12. Might be moderately useful for their cause, or not at all. Only the future will tell. What is sure though is that Lukáš Klima is going to be delivering his first stone of this 5th end, and that he's going to attempt the same shot as Jiří Zandra did just a couple of minutes ago, but hopefully for Team Klima with a better final result. Lukáš Klima is not only a curling player, he is also a graduate of the Prague Faculty of Law and now works in a legal company working towards his Czech bar examination so that he could practice law independently. He is a part of an accomplished Czech curling family, with his father Radek Klima being the member of the national curling team for several editions of the European Curling Championships. His sister
No, teď ho
Linda
musíš už hrát teda.
representing the Czech Republic in juniors,
No, krátko, to je
women's,
prostě jako,
academics, and all kinds of other events
nebo to můžeš
at
hrát
the
jako
world and European level. And his two younger sisters, Laura and Luisa,
rizika, no.
winning the Junior Curling Championships this year and thus qualifying for the World Junior Curling Championships B next January. It's going to make quite a formidable collection of curling players, 4 siblings, and all of them participating in curling events at world level.
Pardon. Všem se omlouvám. Posun? Ten let takhle se mi líbí, jo, ale nesmíme to rozmést jako ten můj.
9 kruh!
No, ale my stejně musíme jet
Back to
backline,
what's
tam
happening on sheet A. Martin Jurik is just about to deliver his first stone of this 5th end, trying to come around everything from the outturn side and lie shot. Sweepers on and very early.
Já nevím, co to je.
Seems that
Dělá nic.
Rock might have picked, or because it's going in a completely different direction than it should have.
On to otevřel.
A bit unfortunate for Team Kubeška, but the unexpected effect of that shot is actually that they opened the way to that yellow shot of Team Klima, so
Jinak tam máš do 4.
now they have to be very careful about the placement of that shot and try to go for some damage control, because if that leaves that stone open, and Martin Jurik is going to be able to remove that shot with a glass stone, the Kubeška team might actually be on to score 4 points, which would greatly hinder the chances of Team Klima to turn this game into their favor and to advance into the semi-final.
Já zahraju sem, že jo, nejlíp. No, já mu můžu nechat i tenhle double prostě. A tady je to otevřený, já když se zbořím, tak on má tady stej na 4. Já bych šel tohle draw, tady mám mnohem větší prostor na chybu. Já nevím, Marek hraje, že jo, odsaď sem. A Samuel hraje odsaď na centerlineu. To je podle mě moc, já bych šel tohle. Když tak to rozklepneš a zavřem to. Když tak uděláme tohle, to nevadí. Myslím, že jsme se měli vejít.
Jo, vejdem se. Chceš cokoliv schovat?
Chci malý kousek
Now
schovat.
the
Podle toho, jak se bude utápět, buď jenom...
Klima team have made their decisions, and
Nejsem. Vůbec nevím.
they're going to try to play that stone
Marek má pravdu, uber. Sam to tady
in
prostě
order
hlídám.
to
Jo.
prevent Team Kubeška to have an open
Stejně jako to háže Marek.
way to remove it. So that shot is going to come up somewhere in front of that yellow shot that is in the back 8 circle.
Jenom dílka, místo je! Pět! Místo je! Pět! Místo! Šest! Mára!
They're working pretty hard to cover, to hide it as much as they can. It's going to be pretty
Poměrně málo. Tady
Team Kubeška to make their decision now.
tam si myslím, že možnosti nemáme teda. No.
Team Klima managing to lie first and second shot, and so now they have to think very carefully about what to play next.
Pak je
They
zase
would
tady tenhle ten
they
jam.
probably really hope that the
Těch jamů je tady
double
kýbl
takeout
teda,
is
no.
possible, but they're talking about possible jams on those yellow rocks that might on those red rocks in the 12-foot that might stop those yellow shots from happening.
No, tohle je dlouhá cesta, víš?
Karle!
Asi jo, no.
Martin to hodí.
And they made their decision, and
Tohle bych asi už neskoušel.
they're
Kolik
going
ho vidíš,
to
ještě mi řekni.
Je vidět 3/4.
some last-minute measurements, having a look from the hack. Sometimes that helps, sometimes it doesn't help at all. And so they're going to try to throw a peel weight and remove both those yellow rocks from the play and potentially score multiple points. A very important shot for Team Kubeška in this fifth end of the quarterfinal. Seems to be working pretty hard on it from the let-go. They managed to sneak it past the guard, and they managed to remove those shots, and they end up scoring 2. So a pretty good result for Team Kubeška in this fifth end, and the score is 6-3 for Kubeška team after 5 games of play. Happiness and fist bumps for the team. And they're leading that game by 3 points. We now have a short moment to look at the scores and the other sheets. The fifth end has been completed on all the other sheets, so on sheet D we've got Boris Jaszecki of Poland against Ville Mäkelä of Finland. That game still at 2-0 after 5 games of play, with the Finnish team having the last shot advantage. On sheet C we've got David Schick of the Czech Republic against Mikhail Vashkov of Russia. The game is level there after 5 ends of play, with Team Schick having the hammer in the 6th end. The Russian team actually managed to steal 1 point in the 5th end. And on sheet B we've got Cameron Bryce with his Swedish team from Skellefteå against Sebastian Wunder of Austria, and the Swedish team is leading by 7 points to 3 after 5 ends of play, and the Austrian have the hammer. In our featured game, the lead of and skip of Team Kubeška has just placed his first stone firmly into the forfeit, and it's time for Samuel Mokrish to try to throw up a corner guard to set up a scoring opportunity for his team. In the previous game we've seen a great comeback from the Klima team, and hopefully we're going to see one in this game again, so that the match is interesting till the very end. The Kubeška team just corner freezing that red rock that was already lying in the house. And so Samuel Mokriš is going to place another corner guard.
Musím čekat. No, my zase potřebujeme jíst, no. Tak Máro, jo? Marek, už jde dobře.
And they find themselves in a bit of a situation where sweepers would need to sweep, and the skip needs to wait for line.
Dobře, pojď ještě pojď. Musíme ho skovat. Ještě.
In the end, they drag it in the house, and it's beautifully behind the cover. So well done for Team Klima leads Samuel Mokriš.
Jsem sám. Dva. A už točím docela. Musím. Jo.
They're trying to cover those two rocks in the house, hanging a bit wide. But from this angle, it seems like a pretty good job was done by the team second, David Ironek.
Jenom to tady rozsunejme. Backline.
Again, we found ourselves in that key sixth end for those eighth end games, so we can expect Team Klima to dig really deep and to really try to score in this end. Number 6, which they really have to do if they want to keep their chances of semi-final alive. That was a great effort by the Team Klima sweepers, and they managed to squeeze past that guard and into the house and bump those red stones ever so slightly.
Nejčí! Nejčí! Pojď, pojď Marťo, pojď. Pojď. Pojď.
Bit of luck now on the Kubeška side. Stone was hanging a bit wide, so it was helped by the red corner guard and redirected their shot into that yellow that was in the house. Now Marek Chernovsky moving that yellow corner guard and rolling to the center. Not what they imagined either, but that yellow stone on the 8-foot circle is now open for play.
Okay.
Now very nice double takeout thrown by the third Jiří Candra. Spins a bit back and behind that red stone and at the top of the 8-foot. And now Team Kubeška has found an angle for a double takeout and a possibility to remove all Klima stones from play. A bit of a miscommunication there on the sweeping. And a successful double takeout from Team Kubeška and some very happy gestures from the players.
Tohle se nedá moc minout.
To potřebujeme tady.
A i můžeme být druhý, ale nevím, jestli nás to někam posouvá.
Now we really see the difference in the body language and in the facial expressions of the two teams. While Team Kubeška is on a high with fist bumps everywhere and smiles all over the place, the Klima players seem a bit down,
Větší šance je to hrát takhle.
To je furt hodně času.
maybe just reflecting on
Asi jo, no.
how to put together the game and how to fight back and get back in this quarter-final game. They're 3 down, but they're 3 ends of play still left, so the game is all but over.
Oh, oh. Oh. Ne, není menší.
No není, no.
Okay. Okay.
Pitch is straightforward choice by the Klima team. Just removing one of those red stones in the house. Probably going to be a straightforward choice for
Ke mně.
Team Kubeška as well. That
si
is to
myslím, že
say
by
we're
dal
going to see another removal.
No.
Ready on the skip stones, so we're now seeing Martin Jurik delivering his first one in the 6th end.
Jo, jo, jo. O ne.
Čekej!
Menší, až tam byla bacha.
Čekej, hodně čekej! Jap! 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 Jo, jo! Jo, jo! Jo! Jakube, jo, 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 jo!
Pojď pod něj. Okay.
Nice effort and a small roll from the Team Kubeška fourth player. Now the Kalima rank are looking if they might have an angle for a double takeout,
Double zůstat za gardem, uvidíme, co udělá on.
and hopefully stay behind that guard.
Já vím, že jo. Je to 2 a 1 a 1. A nebo počkat na chybu.
Did not quite manage to play that double takeout, only hits that red rock and bumps it ever so slightly, so another opportunity to remove that yellow stone for Team Kubeška and to force Team Klima into taking 1 point in the 6th end.
No, já nevím, aby nám to neuteklo na konci. Pojď 10, to dotočí.
Let it OK?
So far, Martin Jurik has been pretty consistent on his hits, so we're going to see how he's going to do with this one.
Whoa, whoa!
Sweepers working at it early, but now just letting it slide. And that was a successful attempt, and now Lukáš Klima has nothing else to do but to find his way into the forefoot for 1 point.
Ejmím vochlu víc, Jirko.
And this string that was Kubek.
Třetina bílý.
And we're back for the 7th end of this quarterfinal game, where Team Klima faces off with Team Kubeška, both of the host nation Czech Republic, and we see players of Team Klima. And so the 7th end is opened with a successful shot played by the lead Samuel Mokriš. A bit of a slip there from Martin Jurik. Might have stood on something slippery, maybe ice. And now they're sliding right on the button, maybe a bit further than they imagined, but if you sweep, that's what happens. While you watch the second shot of this yellow team being delivered, we're going to segue on sheet B, where we've just had a handshake and we know our first team that is through to the semi-final.
Jenom vaše místo. Ne, hodně místa, ale bude točit. Jo. Wow. Bude točit.
It is
Martin, jo.
just waiting for the official confirmation.
Sorry dál. Hurry. Sorry dál, ještě.
It is their
Super, Karle.
It is Team Bryce that won their game after 6 ends. Team Wunder conceding that game. So our first semi-finalist for tomorrow is going to be Cameron Bryce with his Swedish team. Back to our featured game on sheet A, Marek Czernovsky delivering his first rock of this 7th end, trying to come around behind those center guards. Seems to be pretty happy with the line. That pulls up a bit short. Seems like it lost a bit of rotation at the end.
Jenom single, jo.
Now Team Kubeška going for the peels. With being up 2 with the hammer in the 7th end, the game plan has become pretty straightforward for Team Kubeška. They're just going to try to keep the game as clean as possible and just keep peeling those guards of that the Team Klima is going to put up, and they're going to try to limit the scoring possibilities of the opponent team. On the other hand, Team Klima, these guys are going to try to keep as much of their stones in play. And generate situations that are going to potentially lead to them scoring multiple points, which they would dearly need at this point in the game.
Na krátkým zapade. Ale já jsem brzdil kolem jako to. Potom koleni.
Another shot, another peel, played by Kubeška second, David Ironek. He's tucking towards his goal of removing those yellow stones. Seems to have tucked a bit wide. And so he did. And really bad luck for Team Kubeška now. Running the yellow stone into their one on the forfeit. Bit of an unfortunate miss by the team's second, who was up until now very consistent and pretty much didn't make a single mistake.
Vůbec žádná ruka.
So now a chance for this foursome in white, blue, light blue and green to generate pressure on their opponents. We have had the Slovenian team having their photo right next to them in the event booklet, and they look like brothers, but I've been promised by the members of the team that the resemblance to the Slovenian national team is purely coincidental, and they're not trying to transfer or run away from the Czech curling to Slovenia, and that they're going to be staying faithful to their home country. Now just Blavets and his heavy hitting abilities. Tying both those guards and removing and moving around those shots in the house. Managing to remove one and move the second one out from the central line area. So a pretty good result for the third of this Czech foursome.
OK. 5, 4, je dobrý, pojďte 6, 7. Musí být, je dobrý, nečekej na nic, hlavně dílka.
Sweeper's pretty happy with this one. Trying to drag it as far as possible. And a decent result for the Klima team. Now lying two.
Myslím, že to neodevřem najednou.
Můžu to zkusit, ale jeden kámen ještě.
The Veška team now have a decision to make whether to keep opening the game or to play directly on that yellow stone in the house. The skip Karel Kubeška is more in favor of playing on that rock in the house with a glance at the time clock. And as he thought, so it is. So the team is going to be removing that yellow stone off Team Klima that is on the side in the 8 foot. It's only a hit and stay, so not much has changed. The Team Kubishka third showing just how little was left for his stone to be perfect. Short discussion about how to proceed. They're deciding to deliver a soft weight takeout, remove that red rock, and very importantly roll towards their center line and lie two behind the cover. It's very important now for Team Klima to really try to win, and so to Kubeška team is going to be looking at Klima for unbridled joy.
No, desítka jo, ale budem druhý a třetí. Desítka to neudělá.
Now they're thinking time to have a little team meeting and to really consider their options and what they would like to do next. Jakub Splavec, as always, being active in those discussions. Very passionate and talkative player on the ice and of it as well. Always a contribution for the team with his opinions. So they are now delivering the first zone of the 7th end, trying to remove the yellow in the 12-foot. Unfortunately wrecking on that guard, but able to open up the center a bit.
Podle mě budeme stát třema.
Teďka asi dává smysl nejvíc.
So
Kamkoliv.
not the best situation for Team Kubeška, but
Určitě, souhlas.
Team Klima now has to have their little discussion circle about how to proceed and what to do.
Asi možná je jako malinko šikmo.
They're talking about the possibility of a tap back.
Nesmí ho odskočit.
The thing in this situation is that
Mára tady hrál
they're
tu
really
Teplanu.
trying to steal at this point. There is no point in Team Kubeška scoring just one. They really want to steal at least 1 point at this end, and so that's definitely something that you're thinking about at that point. And that tap back, they might not play it if the score was level or if they were earlier on in the game, but it's the 7th end. They're 2 down without the hammer, and so
Není to vůbec živý ten střed.
it's really time to
No, a ty kameny nejsou
make or break this game and
nemyslím, no.
to
Já zase
go
jako
for
nemůžu
the
riskovat, že se zbořím.
high risk
Já takhle
shots.
nastanu šikmo. Právě.
So going for that
Pojede.
tap back with their last stone in the 7th end.
Deset, osm, devět, deset, deset.
Wow! Wow!
To větší. Tak kolem.
Nick! Máro! Ten druhej!
Seems pretty good. Getting closer, and it's a very nice shot by the Czech skip Lukáš Klíma.
Tohle je
4-foot.
ten double na jejich 1, no. Jo, pardon. A ten Jam je tam
Tohle to ne!
dobře.
And now Team Klima seems to be in a pretty good position, and Team Kubeška in all kinds of trouble, facing 3 yellow stones in the house with 2 games of play to go. Well, specifically 1 end of play to go and 1 stone, unless we're playing an extra end, as we have already 3 times out of 3 featured games.
Jako, ale musíš ho brát venku prostě. Tohle je na to, že dopadneš na stage. Jo, tady 107?
So they're trying to reduce the damage as much as they can and remove 2 of those Klima stones and reduce the steal to 1. Let's see how they do. And not this time. It's level after 7 ends of play.
Ale podle mě ale stejně nestačilo ho vzít jako takhle málo.
The Klima team, we're going to see that last draw. Let's look at that score. 6 points apiece after 7 ends of play, and Team Kubeška with the hammer into the last end.
Mně to přijde jako, protože když se povede stejná rozehra jako teď a nepřijde fatal, tak to udržíme prostě. To udržíme.
Samuel Mokriš, the Team Klima lead, opening this last end with his guard attempt, And that one unfortunately pulls up way too short.
Okay. Let's shoot.
And so Team Kubeška now has a chance to
Hodně bude točit. Martin.
place their yellow at the end of the to just peel out stone on this one. A bit short for my personal taste. I would like it better in that a bit behind that tee line, so that there would be no possibility of bouncing off that red rock onto that 4 foot. This looks like a much better attempt at your center guard by Samuel Mokrish. Sweepers managing to take it into the field of play. The opposing vice skip is checking whether the teams are actually the opposing team is actually right, and yes, they were. So the yellow rock stays in place, and Team Kubeška is placing another stone in the house.
Oh.
So far, they seem to be so white that looks like a chip attempt, and a pretty good one that is.
No. Dobrý zetko.
Not intentional. Not intentional. Even the players are saying that that was not what they actually wanted to play, but they're certainly not going to be angry about that outcome. And so now play is open, and another center guard is being put up by Marek Chernovsky. Seems that in the second half of the game, especially in that last end, he managed to get the number of his rotations a bit more under control, even on this one. This one just hanged a bit wide, but otherwise it was a well-delivered rock. A quick glance at the time clock. Both teams should be pretty comfortable finishing this game on time. 2:43 for Team Kubeška and a little over 3 minutes for the Klima team. Actually managed to peel that yellow guard, and so there's going to be another one coming up from the Klima team.
Dva hrajeme.
Now happy with that, with the line. Seems that it's going to be much closer to the desired spot on that center line, and they managed that perfectly. Skip by the team's second, Marek Chernovsky. Generally a pretty solid game. White Weiss has been struggling a bit with the rotation and with his release technique, especially on the intern side. We saw some mistakes with his stones ending way wide, but managed to find his weight pretty well and made a pretty good contribution to the success of this 8th end. And now it's on to the back-end players in this 8th end of the quarter-final game of Prague Classic 2018. Jiří Sandra delivering his first stone of the 8th end, trying to come around that center-ish guard. They're working hard to draw behind, and they manage to pull up on the tee line. Pretty well covered by that guard.
hrát přes ten guard do toho našeho. No,
Backline!
Crazy.
Tak pojď.
Electing to play a backline weight shot to maybe just tap that
Whoa!
yellow rock to the back of the ring. It doesn't look like a face satisfied with that rock. That looks heavy and white.
Hrozná rána. No.
And it is indeed. Unfortunate for Jakub Splavec. Been playing a very solid game tonight so far. So one more shot to make up for his mistake. But now it's the turn for Jiří Sandra's second shot of the 8th end.
3, hop. Já jsem 3. 3 je dobrá. Tam 2. 3. 3. 3. Je to 5. Ne, to nejde, to nemám směr. 4. Wow, wow.
Sweepers seem not entirely sure about where it's going to pull up. We've heard everything from 2 to 5, and it's biting the 12-foot, so probably not completely unhappy about the result. Of course, they're giving the Kubeška team an opportunity to play a double takeout, but the double takeout is pretty long, and they have to be very careful not to jam that yellow rock into their own one, which they don't. And it's a superb shot by the third Jakub Splavec, managing to remove both those stones. Appreciation from the Klima team as well. Great sign of sportsmanship. I can't even pronounce that word. And happiness from Jakub Splavec. So now on to the skip stones in this 8th end. Lukáš Klima trying to come around that corner guard. Pretty much the same spot as his predecessor Jiří Sandra did. They should be pretty well versed coming around and drawing around this corner guard on that side. We have been playing at least 2 or 3 ends in this game, and they've been playing around a very similar constellation in the past game on the same sheet as well. So ice should not be a problem at this point. Now it's just about the delivery, the communication and the sweeping of the Klima foursome. Not too happy about the line, but they seem to be trying to drag it as far as they can, and they can drag it on the T-line. Not really covered, so shouldn't be too tricky for Kubeška team to remove that rock. But what they really have to think about now is where they're going to end up with their shooter, because playing a hidden state might actually prove not completely beneficial to their cause, because that stone might be used against them by the Klima team. So not only a simple removal of that yellow rock in the forfeit, but also a bit of a think about where to end up with that shooter. Trying to make him curl, and curls he does, and it's a hit and stay. And we see frustration on Karel Kubeška's face. Apparently they were a bit surprised by how much that stone curled at the very end. And so now they're able to have a bit of a chat about what they're going to play.
Já nevím, kolik ho vidím.
11 a pomalejc.
And talking about how much they see, how far they need to get that
Vidím
stone.
víc než celým.
Their main objective really is to lie sharp, because if they don't, the game is over automatically. So you always need to focus not to get too romantic with those shots and set the primary goal to we need to make the
Ne, já
opponent
jsem se tu málo.
throw a rock, because any kind of rock is gaining a bit in difficulty, it being the last rock of a game for the participation in the semi-final of a World Curling Tour tournament. So there's always the added pressure to the base difficulty of that rock. And now Lukáš Klíma getting ready for the last of Prague. See. Hanging pretty wide. Just to remove that shot, but keeps on rolling. Far enough. And they're not.
Rychlost.
The last stone will be played.
Jakou budeš rád rychlost? OK. Normál 8 půl, vyber si.
So the Kashkinim actually manages to force the Kubushka team to throw their last rock
Bo malinko víc, dal bych si na kraj kamene.
to make sure of the result of this game.
Můžeme rolovat ven. Jo,
All they need is to hit that yellow rock and remove it from the play. The last rock of this quarterfinal match.
OK.
They seem to be pretty happy with this one. And it's made. And it's 2 points for Team Kubushka. And Team Kubushka is winning this quarter-final game 8 points to 6. Check fourth Martin Jurik. I would like to thank you for staying with us for the entire game with the World Curling Tour TV on YouTube. I hope you enjoyed this game, and I'm looking forward to having you present with this broadcast again tomorrow, this time for the semi-final game. Thank you, and with the happy faces of the Kubushka foursome, good evening. Not quite over. Still going to have a quick look at the playoff layout of this Prague Classic 2018. We see that Kubushka and Bryce are already in the semi-finals. The other two teams are going to be decided later. And now for the final replay of that game. Me, Stepan Hron, I would like to thank you for your attention once more and see you here at Prague Classic 2018 again tomorrow morning with more top-class curling. Good night.